And we're live. All right, welcome everybody. Got a bunch of people jumping in from the waiting room right now. It's good to see all your smiling faces. There's Wade. Good to see you, Wade. William, how you doing? Good to see you. Hillary's here. Chaz is here. Haven't seen Chaz in a while. Welcome, Chaz. Good to see you here, my friend. Anna B's here. What's up, Anna B? Long time no talk. David's here. Welcome back, David. Paula, welcome back. It's good to see all you guys. We have some awesome stuff for you this week. We're going to be talking about the importance of coaching. And to do that, we've got some amazing guest speakers here. I'm going to take a second and just talk about these guys for just a second. Then I want to get out of their way and let them get to their training that they've prepared for us. So I have, I like to bring students on who have become experts, and these guys are no exception. In fact, as I introduced them, Rick was my first student ever. Number one student you're going to hear from today. He's had his own journey and it's been an incredible thing, but him and Gavin have teamed up and are killing it right now. So I wanted to bring him on and give him a chance to talk to you guys about what they do best. Rick's involved in fix and flips and real estate, and they're killing it. Gavin, of course, is they're equal partners. And Gavin was someone that I met when he was Gavin, 18, 19 years old?
Exactly, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember Gavin was scared to jump in, and Rick the same, Rick was I think in his late teens when I first met him, and these guys dropped 20 grand on their education. Luckily, we've changed some things around since then, but these guys are just killing it. And it's been amazing to see what they're doing. They're young, they're entrepreneurial, they're ambitious, and they're going for the gold, and they're getting it. So I'm not going to steal too much of your thunder. I'm going to let you guys tell your stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over. Gavin and Rick, take it away, my friends.
Awesome. Thanks, Mitch. So, Rick and I have known each other for a little while. Dude, Mitch, you said it yourself. Mitch is probably like the first person that I ever really consider like a mentor. And there's so many things that he taught me that I've seen him put inside of his education and everything he's doing, that seriously were just absolutely game changers. Some of them are down to even strategy that might seem somewhat simple, like the 5 currencies have been, as you talk with Mitch about just going deeper into some of those things, like it's just awesome. So dude, thanks for being such a big part of our success. It's been awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. It just, in addition to what Gavin said, just meeting Mitch, several years ago was the biggest turning point in my life. Before Mitch, I was going to college, I had a full-time job, and Mitch really helped me catch the vision as far as what I could be and, the type of business that I could have within real estate. So again, thank you, Mitch. It took a while. It took like 3 months to convince me, but you showed me the clear picture. And I'm glad I caught on, because it's been life-changing for me and my family. So once again, thank you, Mitch.
I'm just grateful for our friendship, guys. You're making me blush. Thank you.
Awesome.
But you guys are the ones that did it, right? I just kind of showed you the path, and you took off with it. So well done.
I love it. Yeah. So a little bit about me and Rick. Rick and I are business partners. We have multiple projects going on right now. We flip houses and rentals. Rick and I are really excited about moving into the multifamily space here really, really soon. And so we've got a business that's doing awesome, and a lot of it has been thanks to Mitch. He's been a huge part of the process. So I guess I'll introduce myself really quick, and then I'll let Rick introduce himself. Growing up, I was just raised pretty poor. I slept on a couch in high school, and it was something that just super infuriated me. I was super pissed about it for a long time, and then eventually I ran into Mitch and decided that I wanted to do real estate investing. I didn't want to do a 9-to-5 job. In fact, if you go back and look at my job history, I probably had 13 different jobs between the age of like 17 and when I quit my job later. So it was earlier last year of 2020. And so, it's been a ride. I don't know how much more to say. I know we're going to be a little bit crunched on time. So Rick, I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So, like Gavin said, we're business partners. We have an awesome business, and how we run it is just amazing. But about myself, my family, like they're, middle class, but I was always taught to work hard, to go to college, and to get a good job, and to put my money in a 401k, and that's what I did. And that's, that was my plan. But when I was 17, I had a turning point, and I really wanted to get into real estate for, I don't remember why. I just remember thinking that the rich people, invest in real estate, and I'm like, I want to get into real estate. I'm pretty creative. I want to get in it, but I didn't know where to find that information or that education. So I looked for many years, and I couldn't find it. So I ended up going to college. I graduated in finance. I got my bachelor's degree. I left college, got a good job, and then one day I saw a sign that said that somebody was looking for a mentee, and I was like, that's what I need, somebody that can show me the ropes. And I called and I talked to Mitch, and Mitch showed me the bigger perspective of life and business and real estate, and I caught on, and that's how I got introduced into the game, and it's been an awesome ride. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Mitch is on mute. So we wanted to talk to you guys today about, should we just jump in, Rick? You have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, cool. So we wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about this is something again that largely came from Mitch. But really we want to talk about a 4-phase process that Rick and I, after we've gone through the process and made the mistakes even we've made, and just learning from them, I wanted to show you kind of the 4-phase process that Rick and I really recommend using to get into your first deal and the deals from, further and up and onward. And so phase 1, I'm wondering, should I draw it out? Maybe I can draw it out a little bit. Do you mind if I share my screen, Mitch?
Not at all. Feel free. I made you a co-host, so you should be able
Awesome.
to share it.
I'll use this little whiteboard thing. Okay, awesome. Can you guys see the whiteboard? Is it just my whiteboard or is it my computer?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to pull this over here. So as far as the 4-phase process goes, I got to figure out how to use this whiteboard thing. Oh, cool. There's a little bar right here for like pens and stuff. Okay, I love Zoom. Zoom is so cool. Okay, so 4-phase process. So Rick, I can go ahead and, draw it out while you kind of explain what I'm drawing.
Yeah, definitely. So phase 1, there's 2 parts to phase 1. And the first part, it's exactly what changed for the game for me and Gavin. And that starts with your mindset. That's something that Mitch really focuses on, is mindset. And believe it or not, that was the biggest game changer, because until I met Mitch, I really thought like an employee. But Mitch taught me how to think like the wealthy, using the 5 currencies, the 4 pillars of investing, and truly the mindset is key into getting in the game. In my opinion, the people who make it to the top are the people who have mental endurance. That is key. If you don't have mental endurance, you're not going to make it. I remember playing soccer growing up, and you can have all the talent in the world, but if you do not have physical endurance, you're always going to lose the game, because other people are always going to outrun you. And it's the same in real estate. It starts with your mind. So we're really focused on being, mentally strong, because it's a hard game. But if we're mentally strong, we're going to be prepared for whatever comes our way. Are you drawing, Gavin, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we're seeing it.
Weird.
Not seeing it on.
Oh yeah, I've been drawn. Okay, let's see. How do I share? Your screen sharing is paused. Resume share. Oh, can you guys see it now?
There it is. Yes.
There it is. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
You're good. So after, we focus on mindset, and then we focus on taking the action. So part of the phase 1 is lead generation. That's you got to be really good at lead gen, right? Because you can have the entire process in place, but if you do not have a consistent amount of leads coming through your funnel, there's no point in being good at everything else. So you got to figure out lead gen. Yeah. So go ahead, Gavin, on lead gen.
Cool. Yeah, lead gen. In fact, I remember sitting down with Mitch actually and watching him go through this for the first time. There's so many things you can do for lead gen, right? So lead gen, that includes, let's just take the first one. The first one that I see most people go to, right? It's with a realtor or finding deals on the MLS. So here we go, realtor. The next one, this one actually can be a really good way to generate leads. Right now in the market, it's pretty hot, right? And so what we see is something Rick and I called the piranha effect. It's just kind of this feeding frenzy around the MLS. In fact, Mitch and I currently have a deal over in Salt Lake that we found on the MLS with a realtor. Another way you can do it is just all of the lists, right? We call these the lists. These are all public record lists. This is like pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, divorce, probate. I'm not going to try to write that on with a mouse. But yeah, that's pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, divorce, probate. Then you can start looking, you can go to the county health department and look at lists like meth, right? Meth is a huge one. Utah, Mitch taught me this too. Utah is the #1 state for meth, right? And so it's another great place to pull from. You can also do things like bandit signs. You can. Do you guys all know what bandit signs are? They're those like things that you see on the side of the road, right? It's like we buy houses cash. They're usually like yellow or white signs. Mailers is another great strategy, right? You can either do targeted mailing, you could do zip code mailing, mailers. Here we go. Then you can even do things like driving for dollars, right? Rick and I love driving for dollars, and we're actually going to show you why here a little bit later in phase 4, why we just absolutely love driving for dollars. So these are just to name a few, just a couple of the ways that you can find lead gen. In fact, as I was cleaning off my desk to get ready for this call, promise I'm not crazy messy. I was looking at these. I mean, you can find real estate anywhere. There's endless opportunity, and it doesn't matter it doesn't matter where you are with real estate. There's always a strategy. There's always an opportunity. You can even think of things like evictions, right? You could go look at like criminal records, right? See if they own any real estate. I mean, those are some deeper, crazier strategies that aren't typically practiced, but know that this is not the end of lead gen, right? There's so much more that you can do. So fire damage, bankruptcy, attorney, tax liens, and deeds.
Yeah.
So
Being late on your utility. If you can find people that are late on their utilities, that's probably a good one as well.
Yeah. Late on utilities. Exactly. Bunch of really fun stuff. So that's phase 1 is lead gen. Phase 2 is contacting. Now, really quick, before we move on, phase 1 is really, I would pick 1 or 2 different strategies and master them, and then continue to move on. What I've seen a lot of people do, and in fact, what Rick and I did for a long time. Sorry, so the snowy outside was lighting my face earlier. Let me turn the light on. But I see a lot of people, they jump around from thing to thing, and they just never gain any traction. Just pick one thing, stick with it, make it work. That if the system's not working, it's not the system, it's not the lead gen strategy, it's your strategy. So always don't ever be afraid to grow. Get excited about the room for growth, right? So phase 1 is lead gen. And there are a ton of ways you can do it, right? Rick and I really like driving for dollars, but you can do mailers, bandit signs. You can go to all of those lists. Remember how many things are on the public record lists. Building a network of realtors is also a great thing. In fact, if you want to talk to Mitch about networking with realtors, he's great at it, right? And so lead gen. Now, if you're doing driving for dollars, what a lot of people, what Rick and I actually like to recommend to people is, hey, go find, let's say 500 to 1,000 leads. Okay. 500 to 1,000 leads. And if you're going through this lead gen, sometimes you're going to want to you're going to want to call them all together. With driving for dollars, Rick and I have found it's best to do all of the driving up front and then do all of the contacting in a second phase. So this is D for D, driving for dollars. Now, if you're driving for dollars, one of the best ways to do this is then to skip trace. So with driving for dollars, you'll find their name and their address, but you won't have a phone number or an email, right? And that's a problem you get with a lot of these lead gen strategies, is that that you don't have the right contact info. So then Rick and I talk about skip tracing, and this is going to be in between phase 1 and phase 2. Sorry, my handwriting is so crappy with a mouse. So skip trace. Now, do you guys know what skip tracing is? Is this usually a conversational platform, Mitch, or is this more of a?
Yeah, you can make it as conversational as you want. If you want them to answer, just ask them to come off mute.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tyson,
Yeah,
do you know what skip tracing is, Tyson?
Yes, he's shaking his head.
Sorry, I was muted and the window for Zoom wasn't on top, so I was just nodding. Yes, I know what it is. Skip
Cool.
tracing is basically when you use a system to find contact information for a person who owns a property. You can get their name, you can get people that they're related to, you can get email addresses. If you have a better skip tracing system, yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But it's key that, as you're looking to scale your business, to pick a good skip tracing company. Don't be afraid to pay for good skip tracing. A lot of people, like to go through these free websites to get skip tracing. I promise you, it's not worth it. It'll take a very long time to find the right homeowner. I would invest some money into a good skip tracing company, because it'll save you a lot of time, and you'll be able to, get between 1 to 6 phone numbers and really contact the homeowner. And, as far as return on investment, it's there, right? Like one deal can make you, 10 to 40, 50, 60 grand. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
it's totally worth it to pay for good skip tracing. And that's something that we recommend.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's so true, guys. There's so many back to, some of the things that Mitch has taught us. He talks about the 5 currencies, right? If you guys don't know what they are, go watch Mitch's video on that, right? The 5 currencies is so incredible. Understand there are so many resources out there to help you guys as investors. There are things like, some of them Rick and I use, some of them don't. There are dialers, there are autoresponders. Don't be afraid to invest a little bit of money into your business, because what you'll do is you'll save yourself a lot of time. I guarantee it.
Gavin, if I can just jump in here, I'm glad
Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought up the mindset thing, right? Because that really is the first step, and people don't often see that when they're starting out. And we'll talk about mindset, and they'll be like, "Yeah, stop talking to me about mindset. Tell me how to do this stuff," right? But then they get into something like what you're talking about, and if they don't have those 5 currencies in that order, where money's last and time is first, instead they've got the employee mindset where money's first and time is last, they're going to go do, they're going to pick one of those free skip tracing companies, right? And they're going to end up spending so much time trying to figure it out.
So much time. Rick and I have done that.
You'll create your own failure.
A long time.
Right?
Yeah.
You create your own failure if you don't have the right mindset. So that's why we pound on the fact that mindset is first. It's the most important thing.
It's true. I mean, when Gavin and I were first getting started, the first thing that came out of our paycheck was to reinvest into our business, right? Yeah, we could have done a lot of stuff for free. It would have taken a very long time, but we knew that if we reinvested some of the money that we had from our paychecks into the business, it would go a lot further, and it has. It saves us so much time, and time is so valuable that I'd rather pay, to have good skip tracing than spend my time. I'd rather spend my time with my family, or, making deals out there with homeowners. So again, we recommend, and just with the 5 currencies, that's exactly how we structured our business, is, reflecting on how the 5 currencies are structured. That's exactly how we laid out our process. For a very long time, we've been doing that. So
yeah. And dude, Mitch, that makes a ton of sense. Like the 5 currencies and how you laid those out. I know, that one was kind of your brainchild, right?
Yep. It's really easy to see it looking backwards, right? You kind of have to have faith looking forwards, but It's really easy
Right.
to see how that works looking backwards.
It totally is. It 100% is. And you're just so programmed from such a young age to do things the opposite way. It's so weird. But yeah, so that's a huge one. Don't be afraid to invest in some of these tools and resources that are going to help you. Guys, some of them are like $10 a month. Some of them are going to be, a couple. I mean, some of the really powerful ones are still only a couple $100 a month, if that. Right. So don't be afraid to use a couple of tools, invest in your business. There was a time where, as Rick and I just kind of in our journey, Rick's always been a crazy hard worker, just like me. Right. I was working 2 jobs. Both of them were almost full-time jobs. Right. And it was just a pain in the butt to try to do that and then come home. But I worked those 2 jobs to keep my income high, to invest in the resources that were going to help my business grow. And so remember the 5 currencies. As we keep moving forward, then phase 2 is just the contacting, right? Remember to set goals. Remember to set goals, but also KPIs, okay? What are KPIs? KPIs are key performance indicators. And Rick and I use those for our business quite a bit of like, here are the metrics we want to be hitting every day, every week, every month, every year, right? Here are the things, and that's always continuing to grow. Right. As Rick and I are growing and scaling our business, just always remember to aim small, miss small. Make sure that you're keeping statistics of the small things. When you're contacting homeowners, have a goal for how many people you're going to talk to, not how many calls you make. Right. How many people are you going to talk to today that are going to get you in front of a potential deal? And what kind of conversation are you going to have? And invest time into training and getting better at being on the phones and having conversations with these homeowners and with the realtors. And this, guys, real estate more than anything. I've been in a lot of industries. I've done a lot of sales jobs. Real estate more than anything is a relationship business, right? So get good at contacting. In phase 2, it's really important to keep track of your KPIs of how many calls did I actually make? How much time was I actually working, right? I remember times in my earlier phases or my earlier stages of business and doing real estate where, I'd tell myself, man, like I've been working all day. And then I go back and look and I'm like, I've kind of been working today, right? Like I've done some work on my business today, but not nearly as much as I told myself I was doing. And so remember that every minute counts. What are you doing right now? And that's the kind of mindset you got to have, right? You got to be really hungry. It's not just kind of hungry. You don't want to kind of want it. You got to really want it. So remember your goals, remember what you're doing it for. Make sure that the motivation is there and then just go crazy. Phase 3 is then when you get into your first deal. So really when you're contacting homeowners, what you're looking for, this is right here, right? What you're looking for is that, yes, I would consider selling my home. Wow, what am I doing?
Yep.
Yes, I would consider selling my home if the terms were agreeable, right? Now, this brings us into a really fun phase, especially if you're doing a fix and flip. So we're going to show you phase 3 like it's a fix and flip. And remember, guys, when you're doing this lead gen, you're not just going to find rentals. You're not doing lead gen for rentals. You're not doing lead gen for fix and flips. That might be what you're focusing on and you'll wholesale the rest, right? But know that when you're in this lead gen, you're going to find all of it. I was analyzing, I actually had 3 deals on my desk today, deals like just weird ones, right? All 3 of these ones that came from different places were each under 1,000 square feet. One of them was 1 bed, 1 bath, but you're going to find weird things and understand that you want to have like this. Mitch taught me this too, right? You want to have like this tool belt of like, oh, well, this isn't a fix and flip, but it could be a rental. Well, do I want to do a rental? I always want to do rentals, but if you don't, right, then wholesale it. There's always a way that if it came through, just put it under contract, wholesale it, or do it yourself or whatever. So remember that, as you're going through here, you could find a fix and flip, you could find a rental, you could find whatever. You just got to have those different lenses, right, Mitch? So then inside of phase 3, this is where you've got your yes, what do we do from here, right? Well, step 1, we've got kind of 8 steps that we typically do. All right, I guess there's more like 11 steps that we typically do for a fix and flip if you break it down in a really broad term. step one is setting an appointment, right? You want to set an appointment with the homeowner and just make sure that everything's good. And this is when you're actually going to do your walkthrough. Know that you've already talked about price at this point, right? And sometimes Rick and I will already have a property under contract before we ever see the property in person. It's always fun to go walk through these properties and see them. But one of the things that Mitch taught me, and I quickly picked up, is like, I actually don't want to go look through every single property. I really don't. I don't have time, right? If you're wanting to look through every single one of your properties, you're not doing enough. Get to the point where like the thought of walking through every single one of the properties that came across your desk is just like, I couldn't do it, right? That's where you want to be. And so number one, set the appointment. Number two, I'm going to do what we call a quick analysis. This is, again, Mitch taught us so much of this, guys. This is awesome. So quick analysis. What do we do inside of the quick analysis? Well, what we're looking at, that's all I'm going to write for that. What we're looking at for the quick analysis is we're looking at the really rough numbers. How much do they want? What is ARV? We're going to break it down into 5 pretty simple things, right? Rick and I actually have a spreadsheet that we use that we literally just punch in the ARV and the square footage of the property and pops out an offer price. Now, this isn't going to be down to the dollar what we're going to buy the house for. It never is, right? But we're just getting kind of a rough ballpark to see if we want to continue to invest time going down the rabbit hole for this property. Because one of the hardest parts about this business is just managing your time properly to do the volume. It's really easy to get sidetracked or distracted. So we never want to waste more time on a property than we have to, but we want to be able to really quickly analyze it and know, hey, is there something here? Should I keep working on it? Or is there not a deal here, right? So quick analysis, this is just going to kind of give us a rough idea of what to offer. Rick and I have a spreadsheet that you punch in the ARV and the square footage, and then it pops out with an offer price. Then you're like, hey, if that's the number that we're talking about on the phone, we're in good shape. Then let's go check out the property. So number 3, the quick analysis we want to have ready for the appointment before we show up. Then when we show up to the appointment, what's the entire goal for that appointment? I'm going to
Put it under contract. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Rick, you guessed right. We're going to put the property under contract, right? That's the entire goal. Just put it under contract. Now, one of the questions that I asked Mitch is he was kind of teaching me this process is putting the property under contract. You don't have to have it under contract at the exact price you're going to buy it at, right? Know that there is going to be some negotiation there. And so yeah, entire goal, put it under contract. Now, step 4 is after you're under contract. This is also where you're going to do negotiating. It's actually not in the steps I'm showing you, but this is the point where you're going to start doing some negotiation. Right after you put it under contract, we're going to do an inspection. Okay. Now, the inspection is awesome for 2 reasons. One, it's going to give you a better idea of what the property is and a better idea of the things that could come back and bite you in the butt in ways that you really don't want it to. So doing the inspection is 1, protecting yourself, but 2, it's giving you a lot of leverage with the buyer, right? Or with the seller of, hey, look, these are things we found in the inspection that need to be fixed and I need money off, right? And so we're already under contract. We then do an inspection. Typically, Rick and I like to have the inspector there. If we can do this, it's usually day after we go under contract. Inspector's there at 9 a.m., sometimes day of, right? So 9 a.m., the inspector is there. Typically then like an hour and a half later, as the inspector is getting done around 10:30, we'll show up and we'll show up with our contractor. Now, the inspector is going to relay all of the information to us of, hey, here's all of the things that are good. Here's all of the things that are questionable. You could leave them, but you don't have to, they're replaceable. Here's all the things that are not up to code that have to be changed to continue moving forward with this property, right? So after the inspection, then we bring in our contractor, and the contractor, after we understand what's going on with the inspection, will give us kind of we call it a soft bid. It's verbal. There's no contract or anything for that yet, but it's like, hey, walking through the property, talking about the things we've talked about, looks like we're probably looking at, like, let's throw a random number out there, 65 grand, right? Looks like we're probably looking at 65 grand. And then what we do from there is we give the contractor, let me catch up really quick. Then we give the contractor a couple of days to give us what's called an itemized bid. Okay. In this itemized bid, we're breaking everything down to the dollar, down to the, every single can light, how many gallons of paint we're going to need, the square footage of carpet that we're using, the cabinets, the faucets, the everything, right? This itemized bid is super in depth, but again, you aim small, you miss small. And so with this itemized bid, it's super powerful. This then actually becomes, let me write soft bid here. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then this itemized bid actually becomes the contractor's agreement. And so, let's see. So then step 7, this needs to be done before the end of due diligence. Okay, this is the final walkthrough. Now, during this process, you should have had money raised. You should have had a couple of other things. And those are just a couple of things that you're doing through the whole process, through, these steps. But by the time you're doing your final walkthrough, you want money like literally ready to wire. Typically you also may want some backup money because I'm pretty sure I've heard of stories of Mitch's of money not wiring, right? And then it's like, crap, what do we do? This is the final walkthrough. At the final walkthrough, we're just going to double check everything we've talked about the contractor with, make sure he knows exactly what's going on with the property. That should be pretty easy if you've got a good relationship with your contractor and you've been working together and you're following a good process. But yeah, this is the final walkthrough. Typically it's a pretty easy conversation, right? You're walking through the property of, hey, this bathroom needs to be updated. And he already has a template. He already has, and that was the other thing that Mitch taught me, right? Like on the TV shows, it's all like flipping is fun. And you're going to Home Depot every time, like picking out like paint and colors and stuff. It's like, that's not the most efficient way to run the business. If you're looking for efficiency and money really is the end game, then systemize this whole process. That was one of the, Mitch talks about business systems all the time. I've heard him talk about Henry Ford and McDonald's, and he talks about the systems, right? Create a system around your business. So then, phase 3 is all of these 8 steps. Step 8 is close. Now, this is what you're going to do on literally every single property you buy. Okay. If you're wholesaling, it's going to stop typically around 3 or 4. I would recommend if you're wholesaling, be a good wholesaler, get an inspection done. It's, a couple $100. But this is where wholesaling is going to stop. If you're buying as a rental, that's where it's going to stop. If it's a fix and flip, then you're going to go ahead and continue to do the rehab, right? You're going to continue after the rehab, then you're just going to do the staging and photography. And then after that, you're going to do the selling and the listing and selling. So that's our 8 to 11 step process that we reuse in phase 3, depending on the deal that we're doing. Let's call it first deal or whatever. Phase 4 is then, do you guys want to guess? I don't know. I can't see the chats. I don't know if we have any chats in here. Phase 4 is actually scaling the business. Okay. I remember Mitch talking about like, look, one fix and flip is great. Yeah. If you do a good fix and flip, maybe you make 40 grand. That's average American income, right? The way to make wealth in real estate is think about the long-term wealth, think about the passive income. And the other thing you got to be thinking about is how do I scale this? How do I get bigger? How do I always continue doing more than I was doing yesterday or last year, whatever, right? Scale the business, grow the business. So phase 4 is scaling. As really, this is what we recommend, okay? Is you scale the business. What you need to think about is where am I spending the most time that's going to be the easiest to just pay somebody to do? That's really what I want you doing, okay? So think about hiring drivers. That it's one of the easiest ways to scale a business is driving for dollars. That's why Rick and I love it so much. So we would recommend hiring a driver, right? Hire them part-time, full-time. Do this after your first deal. Don't do this for your first deal. I want you guys to learn the process. Okay. Rick and I have gone through the process. We want you to learn the process. We want you to learn how to be the guy for every part of your business so that when you need a new one or you need another one or you need one period, you know how to train them the right way, right? You know how to train them and show them what's important and what's not, where they need to be spending their time. And the more systemized that can be, the bigger your business will grow. And so never be afraid to pay somebody. Rick and I were talking about the 5 currencies, guys. That's so big. Be smart about how you do it. Be smart with your money. That's what investing is, right? But know when you need to grow. Know when you're ready to grow and scale. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but doing the same thing you've always done is just going to get you the same results. So think about hiring drivers. Then think about hiring callers. Teach them how to call like you did to get into your first couple of projects or whatever. And I don't know, I'm sure some of you have already done a lot of real estate. I'm sure some of you are new to it. And so phase 4 is growing and scaling the business. Hire the people that you need. The easiest ones to hire just straight up from the beginning is drivers and callers. At some point you may want to get to hiring like an acquisition manager, right? In fact, Rick and I are doing something similar in our business right now of hiring acquisition managers, right? They'll be the ones closing all of the deals for us. And so these are the 4 phases that we have. Mitch, do you mind if we open it up to questions really quick before we move on, or
Not at all.
How do you
let's
wanna-
open it up to questions. Anybody
cool.
who has any questions, feel free to come off mute or throw it in the chat. And Gavin, Rick, we usually give them just a second to come off of mute, and then we can go from there.
Awesome. My handwriting is so much worse on this than I thought it would be. I apologize, guys. But
as you're typing in questions, and the reason we structure it this way is because once you do your first deal, we recommend reinvesting that money into your business, right? Maybe take a few $100s, maybe $1,000, but a lot of the money, whether it's 20, 30K, reinvest it into your business, right? Hire the right people, and they'll let them grow your business for you, right? You just manage them, and that'll really help you scale your business. Is spending that money resourcefully. So
Absolutely, guys. It looks like Charlotte has a question. You just came
All right.
off mute.
Yeah. So, hi guys.
Hello.
So when you guys first started, what was your kind of your growth path? How long did it take? Like when you guys first got started, what were your processes then? And then how did you grow it? How did you scale it? Like what was the beginning, and then how fast did it scale?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. For me, and I don't want to speak for Rick. Rick and I met back in 2019. In fact, just after I started working with Mitch. And so I started working with Mitch a lot closer in what? I knew you back in 2016 or 2017, Mitch, but we didn't start working close together until 2019. Same with me and Rick. For me, I made the decision pretty much right after high school to get started in real estate investing. I'd done some sales jobs, but I just decided look, I got to do something different, and I want it to be big. And so real estate is the place that kind of put me. I looked for so long for somebody that could just kind of hold my hand through the process of doing my first deal. And Mitch was kind of that guy for me, right? Mitch was awesome, and he just has so much knowledge in his little head that just makes life so much easier and business so much easier. And so as we started working with Mitch, things started taking off a little bit more. And right now, Rick and I have multiple projects. One of them we're gonna net almost 6 figures on. One of them's a pretty regular run of the road at like 40 grand fix and flip. But it took me a minute because I didn't have somebody to hold my hand through the process. And that's really what I was looking for, was just somebody to hold my hand. And I'm so thankful to Mitch that he could be that guy for me. Right. And then Mitch at just some point was like, go do your thing. You know how to do this. And sometimes Rick and I learn those things, and really I've been lucky enough with Mitch that I haven't had to learn any of those big mistakes that would have been so easy to make. Right. It's all been the little ones, the ones that don't hurt too bad. Oh, that's great to know. I'll learn from that as I do the next one. But Mitch was able to help me avoid all of those really, really big pitfalls. And I'm so grateful to him for that. so yeah, getting started for me, it was pretty slow. But I think a lot of that just had to do with a lack of not knowing the things I didn't know, right? Not knowing the things I didn't know. So
Yeah, no, I agree with Gavin. Same for me. It was pretty slow because I didn't have anybody to show me the process, kind of how we laid it out, right? I was focusing on trying different things, right? I was focusing on calling lists, on doing bandit signs, mailers, on, you know, driving for, I was focusing on so many different things, and I wasn't perfecting one lead gen aspect, which is why, you know, Gavin mentioned, you know, pick one or two and just really, really dial it in, right? Be the best at that lead gen aspect. Instead of focusing on several. And that's the reason why I had a slow start as well. But once we had it dialed in and we were focusing on just on, in our case, for driving for dollars, that's when it really took off. And for us, just focusing on one lead gen aspect and being the best you can be at that.
yeah. And Rick and I don't drive anymore. We have a team of, you know, drivers that goes out and drives around and people that make calls for us. And Rick and I actually ran into a couple more properties. I actually will be pretty shocked if we don't have another 2 or 3 under contract by the end of this week. And it keeps growing, right? And remember that, like, you feel the levels of leveling up. Know where you're at and know where you're going, right? And just be a bull or a shark or a pit bull or whatever you want to be, right? But just go get it and be hungry for it. And really good goal setting is such a huge part of that too, right? Like learning how to set goals and consistently achieve them. I have a really strong belief that there are right ways and wrong ways to set goals, right? And a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. And so, yeah, we're super open to more questions. I think we do have some more time. Did that answer your question? I hope so.
Well, yeah, I think what I was looking for, I mean, you guys are so young that it's like, you know, you think about, yeah. So when you talk about it started off slow and then now you have hired drivers and you have, you know, you're talking about 2019 to the beginning of 2021. So
yeah, 2019, it might have been 2018 was my first deal. Took me a little while to get my next one, and after that, things have just been going awesome. So I mean, retrospectively, I guess it's kind of a weird question, just because it depends on what your scale is for time. I think, like, you know, relatively things have happened pretty quick for Rick and I, but then we also look back and it's like it's been a process of, you know, several years that we've done this and just kind of worked our way up to this point. So
I actually have some insight on this as well. And Charlotte, hopefully this helps with your question. Usually what I see is kind of an exponential curve for people. They'll start out in very linear growth.
Absolutely.
Right. And then you'll just hit this kind of breaking point where it just kind of turns and you start growing like crazy. For some people that never happens, because what happens is they get tired of that linear growth and somewhere along the way they quit. They just stop doing it. Right. And so all progress halts. They never make it to that point of the exponential curve. The people who stick with it, all of them eventually hit it. So you're either going to be one of those people that you're going to stick with it until one day it clicks, and then you hit that curve, right? And then growth is exponential. Or, and I don't think this is you, Charlotte, but I'm speaking generally here. Or you're going to be one of those people that along the way says, that Mitch Nelson guy's full of crap. I'm quitting. I'm out. Right. Which happens. It does happen. And I see people quitting. It's unfortunate, because if they just stick with it and if they'd keep working, they'd eventually hit that curve. It's different for everybody. I mean, some people, you know, it took me, I think 100 days to get into my first deal, but I was desperate to make it work. Back in 2013 when I started. You know, I've seen people do it faster than that. I've seen people take years. You know, I've seen people who start and they'll disappear for 4 or 5 years and then they'll show back up and it clicks and they go. But it's very individual. It's just a matter of sticking with it. I mean, really, that's the secret sauce.
It really is, Mitch. And that's what we mentioned.
To So what
That's
do you
what
guys
we mentioned, endurance at the beginning, right? It's not about being the most talented person, but it's about really enduring through, challenge after challenge after challenge. When Gavin and I first got started, Gavin lived in Davis County and I lived in Utah County, and we both had full-time jobs. I think Gavin had 2 jobs.
a lot of people on the call won't know what that means.
Oh, sorry.
We're all over the country.
We lived about like 2 hours apart, and we met in the middle in Salt Lake County where we live now. And so that was every day after our full-time jobs. We would meet kind of in the middle, and we would drive maybe a couple hours every day to meet in the middle and kind of start working on our business. And at the same time, I had a baby, and now I just got another one. And so my excuse could have been like, I really don't have any time to do this. Right? I have a family, I have a full-time job, I don't have any time. But I put that excuse away, and I was like, this is gonna work. No matter what, this is gonna work, right? I'm gonna make it work, even if I have to stay up till midnight. And my wife was super understanding, and yeah, we made it work because we endured the different trials that we came across, and different objections, and you just do it, and it works like that. Just don't give up.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of another thing that like I just love about Mitch is he's just like the freaking hardest worker that I know. And sometimes the motivating factor is like, man, would Mitch outwork me right now? He freaking would be. Why? I gotta get back to work, right? Like, let's do this. But don't be afraid to put in the hard work, right? Sometimes that's what it takes. You just gotta bootstrap it, and don't be afraid to do it, because it will be the best thing you've ever done in your life, right? It's scary and it's frustrating and it's fun and it's exhilarating, but just do it, right?
You'll never regret working too hard, but you'll always regret not
working hard enough. Absolutely. I love that. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Mitch Nelson. Just kidding.
Mitch Nelson.
I'm sure someone else said that.
Yeah. So any last questions? We have a little more to show you guys as far as what we do with Gavin. We can take one more question before we get into that.
Yeah. Let's do 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah. If not, we can definitely go into the next step. Are you okay with that, Gavin?
Yeah.
So, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, looks like no one's coming off mute. So
Okay,
let's go ahead and
sounds
move
good. So as Gavin and I are sharing the 4-phase process, and kind of like what you were mentioning, Charlotte, is and what we recommend. It's a big part of our, I wouldn't say shortcut, but a big part of our success we attribute to mentors. We attribute to Mitch helping us get in the right course. And looking back, that's all I wanted was a mentor that would show me and that would hold my hand through every step of the process. And that's what Gavin and I have created now. So the company that Gavin and I own is called REI Nation. And REI Nation, it's an amazing company. It's a coaching and mentoring company that Gavin and I own. And we teach you every step of the process, and we hold your hands through every step of the process from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 to phase 4. It's a hands-on learning, real estate company. And we take you through every step of the way so that you learn through action how to grow your real estate business. Yeah, do you have anything else, Gavin?
No, it's just, yeah, it's really cool. And we walk you through each of the 4 phases in just a really fun way. Rick and I have also spent a lot of time and money just doing the research for building things out the way that we've built it. And also understand that, like, inside of the coaching, we pay for a lot of the resources that it takes, including accounts for you to go driving and just different things like that we're fronting the money on. And that's really what we were looking for. And seriously, thank goodness to Mitch. Mitch was really that guy that set me on that track of being like, man, like, I want to change other people's lives the way that guy's changed mine. Like, and it's super fun. A lot of what we've learned from Mitch, we put in here. Some things it's things that Rick and I have learned by ourselves as we've continued to grow and scale the businesses. And so in actually, can you guys still see my screen, or am I off share? Oh, you guys can still see my screen. All right, cool. In phase one, we actually pay for your driving for dollars account. And that's something that, typically you could be paying, what is it? I think $100 a month for. Rick and I just take
Yeah.
care of that for you guys. We also have a skip tracing company that, just kind of like Rick and I were saying, right? With the 5 currencies, something that Mitch taught us. And I'm so glad that we, Rick and I finally decided to start investing in the things that we were doing. Because nobody else is going to, but you, right? You're the only person that's going to do that. Don't wait for somebody to do it. Just make it work however you need to. But Rick and I actually, we've got a relationship with a skip tracing company that'll skip trace all of these at once. But the coolest thing about this is we actually had to, I can't remember, Rick, it was either a license or a certification that our business had to get to be able to pull leads with this company. This is the company that a lot of repo guys and debt collectors and bounty hunters will use, right? A lot of private investigators. And so that's another great way and another good resource that Rick and I provide. And if it's not with us, just promise me that you'll do it, right? You don't have to do our coaching. That's totally fine. But either way, whether you do it with us or whether you do it without, follow a lot of what Mitch says, right? Everything Mitch says, I've just, it's gold. It really, really is. I can't stress that enough. And I'm not just doing it to make you blush, Mitch, as much as I love that, but so much of what he has said has helped Rick and I scale our business, and Rick and I talk about it, right? Of, dude, like, I'm so glad we know this stuff and nobody else does, right? Mitch teaches things that literally you cannot find anywhere else. And so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. As you're going through the 4 phases, if you guys have questions, feel free to hop on and ask as well. But Rick and I have phone scripts that we have you guys use. In fact, we have trainers inside of the company that are going to help train you on the phones, and they'll help close the deals for you. So as you're going through these 8-step process, it's either me or Rick or one of these people that are helping us close deals that you're going to be there with, and be able to, we will hold your hand through the entire process, right? We're going to show up to the appointments with you. We're going to show you quite literally and hold your hand through the process of how to negotiate with the homeowner and what to say and how to say it, and how do you put a property under contract, and what are the tools that you use to do something like that. And going through the soft bid and the itemized bid, just all the systems and resources that Rick and I put together literally over the years is what we've put inside of our coaching, and we don't hold back. It's one of the coolest things. Rick and I, for the coaching, we charge between $2,000 and $3,000. Prices are going up March 1st. But right now it's $2,000 if you pay up front. If not, it's $3,000 financed. And Rick and I, we've bought programs that are $10,000, $20,000 before, several of them. And Rick and I really liked the business model and strategy of, hey, instead of taking out of the student's pocket up front, let's do this with them inside of a deal. And that's why we charge such a small fee, especially right now before our prices are going up, is instead we like to partner up on the deals for you. And that's what makes it worth us doing all of that work with you side by side. So instead of charging something that's 10, 20 grand up front, we like to charge 2 or 3. In March, it'll be 5 up front. And then the rest of it comes out on the back end as you guys have your success, which is just the coolest thing. That's something that I would have jumped all over if I was just getting started. And like Rick said, that's what we've built, is exactly what we were looking for as new investors, right? New people that just wanted to get into real estate. In phase 4, we talk a lot about more advanced strategies that we've learned from Mitch and a couple of other places. One of those is speed banking, right? One of those has a lot to do with the 5 currencies on how to scale your business. As you dive deeper into those strategies, they teach you a lot about how you should run your business, right? The things that are important. What do I pay for and what do I not? What do I hire, right? Mitch has also talked a lot about like pay, partner, and pawn, different strategies on how to get work done, right? And so we teach you a lot of those things inside of phase 4, where we're growing and scaling the business alongside you and with you. And at any point, you don't have to partner up with us on every single deal you do for the rest of your life. Rick and I want to make it so you want to, But as you go through the coaching, it's, your first deal, you can do as many or as few as you want with us. And we hold your hand through the entire process. So.
That's awesome, guys. Thank you for sharing that. You hit the nail on the head. You mentioned the 5 currencies several times throughout your
It's my
presentation.
favorite one, if you couldn't tell. There's so much depth to that one, honestly.
The second currency, first is time, second is knowledge. And one thing I remind people all the time, a lot of these people have spent money on education with me, but that's not the end of the road. I'm not going to teach you everything you ever need to know ever about real estate investing. And that's why, I'm so excited for these guys who have kind of, taken what I've done and they've just taken off in their own direction with it. And I love it. And added to it and built something that is almost completely different from what I do and complementary to what I do.
It's complementary for sure.
I want them to come on and share that with you guys and give you an opportunity to continue to grow. Sometimes I don't connect with every student on the same level. Some students speak my language, right? I got my own language that I speak in my brain, and some people speak that language and some people don't, right? So if you found that maybe you've had a harder time connecting with the way that I teach or the way that I do things, there's other opportunities out there and there's more things to learn out there. So these guys are fantastic examples of that. And I've seen them work. They do amazing things. So definitely worth the value that they're asking for it. Guys, thanks for coming on. Are we ready to open it back up to more questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And thanks for having us, Mike. We're super glad we're on here and yeah.
So I'm gonna put in our website name on the chat for everyone to see.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, let us know the best way to find you. So there, Rick's putting in the website now into the chat, guys. The time is now yours. So everybody on the call, if you have a question, you can come out and ask questions. We're at the top of the hour, so you get to dictate how much longer we go. We can either wrap it up now or we can wrap it up in a half hour if we've got tons of questions. So the time is yours to ask those questions, to bring things to the table, preferably questions that have to do with what we talked about today. But you know what? If you want to talk about something else as well, we call this Ask Mitch Anything for a reason. So bring it on out, and hopefully we can get your questions answered. So feel free to just jump off mute if you've got a question, or you can throw it in the chat, and we'll be monitoring that as well.
Hey guys, what was your strategy for driving for dollars? Like what did you start off doing? How did you do it?
So Rick and I, we would just drive around. There are a lot of different apps out there that you can use. But for Rick and I, it was just driving around and getting the houses and splitting up into 2 phases, right? That's definitely a lead gen strategy that I would split up into 2 phases. There are some of them that you may not want to. So also know that, right? Phase 1 and phase 2 work together quite a bit. Depends on your exact strategy that might change up a little bit. But
did you pick a certain neighborhood, a certain area?
Oh, good question.
A certain type of house? Yeah.
So Rick and I were pretty comfortable just with the team that we had set up before, which, guys, is another thing that Mitch taught me, and I'm so glad he told me to do this, is set up your team beforehand, right? Before you just build the relationships, have them there, have the conversation with, hey, I'm looking for properties. Are you somebody that would want to work with me in this way, whether it's an inspector or contractor or money lenders or whatever? Have those conversations with them beforehand and then just go crazy. But yeah, Rick and I, we would go anywhere from, we're in the Salt Lake market, northern Utah, I should say. So we'd go anywhere from basically Ogden down to Provo, which, if I had to guess, is probably that's probably like a 50-mile radius or something. And so Rick and I, especially for flipping, we wanted to make sure that we just have everything. We're close to everything. I wouldn't recommend, and I know, Mitch has taught us this too, of like, hey, flip locally. If you're going to get into the flipping game, do it hands-on first. There are so many ways to do it virtually, but I would almost recommend doing it first, just because managing contractors and that whole side of it is literally the biggest headache of it all, right? It will make or break the business. You have good systems, it's going to make it so easy and so much fun. if you have bad contractors, it's going to make life hell. It's, you know, it's one of those things. So the relationships are super important. And Rick and I would just go drive around and look pretty much anywhere that we were willing to invest. Definitely get kind of a template that you're looking for. Mitch kind of breaks it down into the three different types of properties. He calls them Walmart, Nordstrom, and Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom, right? Nordstrom's your higher end homes. Walmart's your lower end first time buyer kind of homes that, you know, you're flipping, but they go like hotcakes, and you're making the, you know, the minimal margin on those. Know what your investor ID is, your just your kind of investor personality type. What do you want to go after? Do you want to go after higher end homes, lower end homes? And there's not a right answer. Higher end homes aren't necessarily better, right? Maybe bigger profit margins, but sometimes they sit on the market longer. Contracting can be sometimes a little bit of a bigger headache on those higher end homes. And so just pick your investor idea. If you're the kind of person like Mitch, right, where he's like, replace everything, like everything's got to go, come in and everything's new and perfect. I love that. It's so much fun. Rick and I now, and it doesn't mean you can't do all three. Rick and I now do all three, but start with one. Say, hey, I'm going after a Target, which is kind of the middle of the road. You're not going to be doing crazy small profit margins. That's actually a place I would suggest starting is where's the average income houses, right? Go drive around, go look for just the crappiest houses you can, the ones with multiple signs of distress. So that could be broken windows, boarded up windows, bad roof that just looks like it needs to be replaced. You're looking for things like damaged siding or painting. Sometimes looking at the types of windows in the property will give you an idea of what's inside and when the last time it was updated, right? And so we just go drive around literally anywhere. If you look at our map right now on the back end, it's like flooded with just everywhere, right? We drive everywhere, but just that's totally for you to decide where you want to do that and how you want to do that and what kind of properties you're looking for. Like I said, they're not all going to be flips. They're not all going to be rentals. They're not all going to be, you know, whatever. So did that answer your question on how we go out and drive around? And
yeah, I mean, it's pretty random, but it's, I mean, even a city as big as Albuquerque, which is smaller probably than the cities that you're working in, there's so many choices as to what types of neighborhoods you're going to drive through. And so you would think that you'd kind of need a strategy.
Don't drive in newer neighborhoods, right? Like you can kind of go through and look whether you need a realtor or even like on Redfin, right? You go look and see when it was built, when you can kind of get an idea of when the development was developed. If it's earlier than the 90s as far as driving for dollars go, or later than you know, early to mid 90s, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time driving in that area because you're not going to see a lot of distress. But it doesn't mean you're wasting your time if you drive through there. You could find some homes that you weren't expecting, right?
Sure. And when you guys are
for sure too.
When you guys first started, because you hadn't really flipped any houses or redone them, how did you actually build your team, not having the relationship with them or the experience in using them? How did you go about doing that? Just through references or through word of mouth? Or
yeah, word of mouth, references. Rick and I would go to networking meetings a lot, right? We'd go to real estate investing associations and other groups to just network and meet people and start talking about deals we've got going through our desk, learning from people. And don't be afraid to do that. Like I said, just bootstrap your way there. If you don't know something, just either fake it till you make it or go find the person who's going to give you the answer, right? And don't stop till you get that freaking answer. But
for sure.
Another big thing is just taking action, right? A lot. I find a lot of students get caught up in the minutia of making a decision and then end up getting what's called analysis paralysis, which I'm sure we've talked about before. And you know, there's probably not other than, you know, Gavin, I think that was good advice saying, you know, pick neighborhoods that were built before the 90s. You know, kind of think about what demographic you want to flip in, mid-range, high end, low end. Other than that, don't overthink it. because
Exactly.
it'll just
Yeah.
it'll kind of slow the the thought process down to almost a halt, and then you won't do anything, right? Go out and just start taking action. And what you'll find is that you'll on the fly you'll be able to hone those skills.
Mhm.
So
It's true, yeah.
action taking, I think, is the biggest key.
Ignorance
Yeah.
on fire is better than knowledge on ice.
Yeah,
Mitch told
right.
Mitch Nelson. I just quoted you. but I heard him say that and I was like, dang, and it's been true. And I didn't want to be that guy that had analysis paralysis. And I realized that for the first little bit, I actually was. I was that guy. I wanted to know everything, right? At some point, you just got to send it and learn as you go. And
Yep.
and Rick and I have done a lot of that too. So
And then that's the main reason that as soon as we, somebody onboards into our team, the first thing we do is we're not going to tell them everything about how to do a fix and flip. The first thing they do is they take action. Even before we teach them how to run an analysis or how everything works, we say, hey, go take action, find 500 to 1,000 properties. Either Gavin or myself or one of our team members goes and drives with them. And we teach them what signs of distress to look for in the homes, right? Only after they take a massive amount of action, 1,000 properties, then it's when, we move on to the next phase. So in a way, I would recommend the same thing, kind of put the blinders on for a second,
I
go
love that.
find a
Yeah.
crap ton of properties. And then after you have a lot on your hand, then move on to the next step as far as contacting, and then perfect that aspect of contacting, and then just move on step by step. So, and that's something that we teach our students to prevent analysis paralysis. Just from the get-go, just take massive action. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just massive action. The blinders are important. And sometimes, you head into things and you're like, I don't know what the answer is. I know I'm going to need to know the answer, but I'm sure I'm going to figure it out one way or the other. Right. Like it's okay to not know and be upfront with people when you don't know things, right? As you're talking to sellers and you're talking to business partners and to whatever, be super upfront. Say, hey, look, I'm new to this. And that is totally okay. Right. Find somebody that has more experience than you, and whether that's in your local market or whether that's us or whoever it is, find somebody that you can ask those questions to. Know somebody. Guys, Mitch is a perfect relationship. I hope you guys understand how great of a relationship he has. He doesn't charge you for the time that he has you guys on Ask Mitch Anything. This guy has done so many fix and flips. He's done over 50. Mitch, I'm guessing you're probably over 60 at that point. What's that?
Over 100 now.
Over 100 now.
I
Holy
think we're getting
crap.
close to 120. I got to count them up.
Yeah.
I've lost count. I don't have enough fingers and toes.
Yeah, that's right, dude. Yeah, you can use my fingers. I got a couple. But guys, he's the perfect relationship to leverage as you go. Send it, right? Whatever you're doing, take the massive action. And that is going to show you the things that you don't know that you're going to need to know, right? Just doing it you will very clearly see the things that you need to know that you don't know yet. And then you hop on to Ask Mitch Anything and you're like, hey, Mitch, I've got a question for you, right? And he's going to be stoked to answer it because he's awesome. And he's that kind of a person, right? He doesn't charge you for the time. I hope you understand that people like Mitch aren't out there. They're not. Rick and I looked for a long time, and he just keeps getting better and better and more knowledgeable and knowledgeable. Like, I don't know how much more stuff he's going to fit in this thing, but like, I don't know. Can you? I'm sure you can. He just keeps growing and getting better. And now he's,
Right.
Yeah.
You're making my head get bigger and bigger as you're bragging about me. So,
dude, I'm trying to create more room is what I'm doing.
I appreciate that.
Oh.
I have a comment about massive action.
Please, yeah.
I just want to talk about my experience a little bit with massive action. I've learned that massive action overall is definitely what it says. It's massive action. However, it doesn't need to be all at once, because a lot of people, when they're new investors, think that they need to learn everything and have a grand plan and then take action. But I would submit that no, look for action items as you go along, as you're learning, and then do the action in little bits as you find things that you can do. So that's a form that massive action can take, is you do things along the way. And then that adds up to a massive action in the end. Would you guys agree with that?
Dude, 100%. 100%. In fact,
Actually-
yesterday, oh, go ahead, Mitch.
Go ahead, Rick, and then I got a story to tell.
I just said I agree 100%. In fact, yesterday we met with a couple people that we onboarded as a couple of acquisition managers, and the reason we decided to work with them was because we heard their story, and from the get-go, before knowing everything about wholesaling or what they were doing, they took massive action, and we're like, that's the kind of people we want to work with. People that are just not afraid to just get dirty and get in the game. And that's the reason. They don't know everything about it, but the fact that they took massive action was enough for us to say, that's the kind of people we want to work with. And the same thing in our coaching. Gavin and I will give you 100% of our time ourselves if we see that you're putting in 100% back, right? I'll pick up my phone any time of the day if I see you're putting in the work. But if I see somebody putting in 50% of the work, maybe 80, even 99% of the work, I will not pick up my phone. I will only pick up my phone and help you if you're putting in 100%, because that to me is worth it to go above and beyond to help you, because I know you're all in. And that's what I recommend is give it 100%, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest metric for people who I've coached with, who I've taught and seen be successful versus the people who aren't. They're not the people that got the highest grades in high school. They're not the most intellectual people in the world. They're not even the people that watch the most real estate education videos. It's the people that have taken the massive action, because the mindset will kind of click into track, that all the other stuff will click into track as you take action and learn from your action. All of that's important. I'm not saying it's not important, but you can't just watch videos and then expect a portfolio of rentals to magically appear, right? That's not how it works. It's through the massive action that happens. And on the flip side of that, I was going to share a story I had one time. This is back when I was charging $20,000 for my education, or for the education I represented. And I had a student come to me maybe 6 months after he had decided to go down that road. And he came back, he's like, dude, I want a refund. This stuff doesn't work. I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't work? First off, look around you, like it's working for everybody else. What's going on? He's like, you know what? And this was back when we were doing a lot of bandit signs too. Gavin and Rick and Tyson probably remember that.
Oh yeah, dude.
And he's like, I went out and I put up a bandit sign 2 weeks ago and I haven't got a single call. I said, how many bandit signs you see? I put up one bandit sign 2 weeks ago. I'm like, well, there's your problem. You got to take some massive action, right?
Yeah.
Putting up one bandit sign
Right.
isn't going to build you a real estate portfolio. And one of the things that made me so successful so fast is early on, bandit signs was one of the first lead generation strategies that I learned. I got to a point, and I don't know, I think a lot of my early students came in off of this strategy. I was putting up a pallet of bandit signs a month, 2,500 bandit signs a month. And the Wasatch Front, Salt Lake County, Davis County, Utah County, northern Utah area was just inundated with these bandit signs until finally the authorities asked us to stop. But and that's my fault, right? We had massive success early on because we took massive action. A pallet of bandit signs a month, right? A lot of work, but it paid off. And by the time it was outlawed, the momentum was already there. And we just built off of that. So, it really is massive action. And I think that's a good answer to that question.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about, for at least a few minutes, what massive action looks like?
Can I say
to
something really quick about that?
a new investor? Because I have a couple things, and I want to get everyone else's, like the people who are on the call, the students, people who have their cameras on. Yeah.
Let's do it. What are your thoughts on that, Gavin?
So one of the guys that, I always liked this guy, but one of the guys that Mitch just really got me hooked on is Will Smith, right? Will Smith is just one of the coolest people. And he talks about, he's got this, I think you can go find it on YouTube if you want, but he talks about his treadmill story, right? And he goes, look, I don't care if you're a runner. I don't care if you have ran 20 marathons. We hop on a treadmill together. You're hopping off first, or I am going to die, right? And have that attitude. Guys, the mindset is so important. If you're not there, do whatever it takes to get there with your mindset, because that's so, so important, guys. There's always somebody out there that's going to work harder than you, right? Don't let that happen. Be the person that's willing to take that massive action. You heard what Mitch said. Holy crap. Pallets of bandit signs, not one single bandit sign. It was pallets of bandit signs at a time. And I remember doing it with him, right? It was one of those things that decide your strategy, take the massive action, and understand, like, look, Grant Cardone, right? The thing that he's probably branded the biggest is 10X. 10X. What does that mean, right? You guys all know what that means. 10X, whatever you're doing, 10 times that. If you want to get somewhere, don't put one bandit sign out. Don't put 10 bandit signs out. Put more than 10X out. And you can always 10X, right?
And the only reason I got there is because my attitude was just what you said, kind of that Will Smith attitude of whatever the top guy's doing, I'm going to do more.
Yep.
And I became the top guy because of it, right?
Exactly. And Rick and I, don't be afraid to model people, right? You see somebody that's where you want to be. How'd they get there? How can I do it too? If they did it, you can do it. And so I think that's the hard work, is just always being ready to learn, be willing to be wrong, right? If you're always the right one, you're not going to grow. Be willing to be wrong. Put yourself in the room where you're not the biggest. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong freaking room, right? That's one of the reasons I love surrounding myself with Mitch is, dude, there's always something that Mitch is about to teach me. I just have a conversation with the guy and I learned like 20 things, right? There's just put yourself in those really uncomfortable situations. If you're comfortable, that's kind of the secret. If you're comfortable, you're not going fast enough. You got to do something different if you're feeling comfortable. And the more uncomfortable you can make yourself, the faster you're going to grow. And you know how to do that, right? The things you don't want to do the most, those are the things you probably should do. The ones that you're like, yeah, I don't want to go put out 2,500 bandit signs. That sounds like it's, do it, right? Yeah, do the bandit signs, do the calling. A lot of people get scared on the phones, right? It's a relationship business. If you're scared of the phones, get on the freaking phones. You need more phone time. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. You do it the first 5, 10, 15 times. You do your first, 5, 10, 15 deals and you're like, wow, I got this. And then find another way to make yourself uncomfortable.
Work will push the fear away. Whatever part of this process that you're scared of that's keeping you from doing it over and over again will push the fear away.
Yep.
You just got to work
face
the fear
that
out,
fear
right?
head on. Right.
Yep.
I'll say this last thing and then I'll leave it up to Mitch or to Tyson. But the last thing that, Mitch taught me that really applies to this is, guys, there's really only 3 things that are going to stop you from taking that massive action, right? Mitch tells you they're fear, ignorance, and laziness. And everything boils down to one of those 3 things. Identify it and combat it. How do you combat fear? Well, it's knowledge and action at the same time, right? How do you combat ignorance? It's knowledge and a lot of it's action too, right? Be okay with not knowing what you don't know. Be okay by being small, right? There are times where I feel really big, and there are still times where I feel really, really small. And those are the rooms I like being in the most because they push me to drive the most. And then laziness, just don't be lazy. You know how to not be lazy. So that's all I've got to say.
Work, take action. That defies laziness, right? All of it's
right.
Knowledge and action.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Thank you so much, Gavin. So what I have in mind for the next few minutes, at least, is for anybody on the call to just come off mute and state what massive action looks like or what you think it looks like. And then I'm going to type it in the chat so we can have a little record, and I'm going to number everything. And so my thing, Gavin, you just said it. Massive action looks like doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Also, you do it over and over again. So doing it over and over again will be number 1. Who else? What you guys got?
For me, I would say massive action.
Massive action is never giving up. Sorry, Rick.
Never giving up. Okay.
For me, massive action will yield results, right? If you will know if you took massive action, if you have results from it. So whatever it is, like, it will have results. It won't be something just that you can talk about. It'll be something that you can, really, really speak to because you did it and you can see the results from it.
I don't know if anybody can hear me.
Omar, welcome. Glad
What's
you're
up,
here and
Omar?
I can hear you.
Oh yeah, what's up? So I wanted to put myself in this, uncomfortable position.
Dude, yes.
I feel tiny.
Awesome.
But what I think massive action is, and this is like, I didn't learn this from real estate, but me and my brother had moved to Las Vegas, and we were playing music out there. So we'd do every single weekend. Well, honestly, every single day since it was Vegas, the entertainment industry, and we'd go out and basically go to restaurants, ask people if they wanted our music, and they would pay us for it, and we'd make a pretty good, income from it. But so we would do that. We did that for a whole year, Monday to Sunday, constantly going out. The first 2 weeks, actually, we didn't get anything. We were completely like, I went negative on my bank account, and I didn't tell my brother because I knew he would be like, all right, let's go back to Utah. But anyways, we basically learned that we just did it consistently, and I knew something was gonna come up. I was like, I'm negative, but I know something's gonna come up, and it did. And these COVID kind of ruined it, but we were doing really well. We were doing, just to say the least. But yeah, I hope that means kind of correlates.
I love
Omar,
that.
I think that
I
was
love it.
perfect.
I love it.
I
Omar,
wrote-
what are you willing to
I wrote-
sacrifice to make it work? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
going negative on your bank account, that would scare the crap out of most people. But you're like, that's less important to me. Money's less important to me than making my dream happen. And
Dude,
you
I've
went out
done
and did it.
Yeah, and the thing is that we'd always get no's. No, I don't want your music. No, I don't want your music. And we figured out different ways. Oh, what if we play first? What if we go in without our guitars and try to be more efficient? We did everything, whatever it took, literally. And it was so weird because we were in a trance where it was not hard. And just our mindset was so much bigger that we took on anything without fear. It was honestly so crazy. I was like, we just trusted it. I don't know how to explain it really, because I learned something from myself that I just didn't know yet, and I feel like everyone has that. And I guess it was just an illusion. Fear is it's just all an illusion really, and like what's happening now, it doesn't mean it's gonna keep happening. And we got to a point that we got so big in Utah that we'd get people calling us, oh, I know you from here, I know you from here. We didn't even give out business cards. Like, people think, oh, I need a business card to give out people. We had 0 business cards. Like, our way was kind of the most ignorant way. But yeah, I just wanted to say that story. I hope it touched somebody, and and to keep pushing. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Omar.
Thanks, Omar.
Yeah.
From what
Can
you
I
said,
also-
Omar, I wrote down be consistent and push past the fear. Would you say that's what you were saying? Or is there something I missed?
I think he's back on mute.
All right.
Do you mind if I make another distinction really quick?
Yeah.
Taking massive action, I want you guys to understand what that means.
Sorry,
Okay.
I think they muted me. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I don't know how to use this Zoom. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're fine, man. No worries.
Okay, I'll just mute it up. But thank you.
No,
guys.
you're good. Cool. All I was saying is just pointing out the distinction of, okay, so massive action. I want you guys to actually question what that means. Do you think it's possible to take massive action in the wrong way? Absolutely, right? There's so many things you could do that marginally help your business that you could take massive action towards to only marginally help your business, right? Or there are things that, like, this is where the massive action is needed, and that depends on you and where your business is at. So that's a question that you have to answer yourself. But put the massive action towards the places where it's going to make the biggest difference, and always continue to question if you're doing that, and don't ever be afraid to shift if you feel like you need to. Okay, I was putting massive action towards that. Now it's this. Do be afraid to make that shift because you made a commitment to yourself. But if you genuinely see a better strategy, then follow it, right? I hope that kind of helps. I don't want it to sound like it's okay to just jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, because it's not. But it's also okay to pivot when you need to, and take massive action towards those things. And sometimes it's going to change, right? Sometimes you were taking massive action on one thing, and it's like, okay, now, I've either automated that, or I'm past that phase, or whatever. Now it's massive action towards this thing, and be really analytical about where you're putting your time and how much it's actually helping you grow.
I read a quote recently. I don't remember who said it. It wasn't me though, but it was the poor are slow to make a decision and quick to change their minds.
Yes, that's it.
Is it the other way around?
Buffett said
that.
I might be messing this up.
That is, I know a book that's from because I just read it. It's from, Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich, but it's
Yeah,
Napoleon Hill.
right.
Yeah.
He says it in that book.
I think it's the other way around. The poor are quick to make a decision and slow to change their minds. The rich are no.
Nope.
It's the
People
other
who are
way.
successful are
So we don't know.
people who are successful make up their minds quickly and change their minds slowly. People
That's
who
it.
are not successful most often make up their minds slowly and change their mind quickly.
Bingo.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make up your mind quickly and change what you're doing slowly. Rick and I pushed through years of failing at what we wanted to do, and we were not going to let it go, right? Rick and I failed at a lot of other businesses too, but just get locked down on one. And the reason that Pitbull is used so much in business is because you just never let go, right? Yep. Pitbulls are notorious for just biting on. And my Pitbull, I've got an English Pitbull, or I've got an English Bulldog, I apologize. But you can pick her up as she chews on that rope, right? Like, she does not let go, and she can just be hanging from the rope. Be that way. Don't let go, even if you're picked up off the ground.
And it's okay to fail fast, but don't let failure make you give up, right? I think a great example of that is Elon Musk, right? He's made up his mind. He's going to Mars. He's not going to change his mind on that. There's nothing that will make him change his mind. But he's also willing to fail fast to be able to tweak, kind of degree by degree, his vector towards that goal. With the Starship program that he's doing, rapid prototype. You see in the news, another spaceship, another SpaceX Starship exploded, right? And he'll get on Twitter and be like, it was supposed to explode. We're rapid prototyping, right? This is the process. We're failing fast. We're finding the failures. We're tweaking on the next one, launching it again. It'll probably explode, and then we'll tweak that and fix it, right? So be willing to fail fast, but don't be willing to give up on what you want to do. Real estate's what you've decided to do. Don't change your mind on that. Be slow to change your mind on that. However, be willing to fail fast and okay, real estate's what I'm going to do. I've picked this as my lead generation source, not working for me. Let's go to something and get good at that, right?
So
with the real estate.
Dude, Mitch, Rick and I just met some people that were actually developing just a really fun business partnership with. But this guy, Rick and I met with him the other day, and he's like, yeah, the first contract that I ever did, dude, he wrote his own purchase agreement. He didn't even know, he was just willing to take so much massive action that he wrote a 1-page purchase agreement, signed it, literally went through the entire wholesale. And then on the end, the seller I'm pretty sure it was the buyer on the end, after he bought it, he's like, hey, don't ever do that again. Here's a Repsy, right? Use this from now on. But he wasn't afraid to fail. He was just like, whatever, what's it going to take? Oh, well, now I got to, put it under contract. How do we do that? I don't know. I'll write one, right?
Yeah,
don't be afraid to just fail. Sometimes, you're not doing it the right way. Just do the best you can, and eventually you'll learn, right?
Yeah. Well, this guy too, he was like, he put it under contract, and he's like, I can get it, sold in a week. And he didn't have a buyer's list or anything. He didn't, a single person, right? And he made that commitment. So immediately he had to take massive action to find a buyer to buy that house.
Yep.
And now that's why we work with him, because he took massive action.
Yep.
Well, we're 1 minute from half past the hour. I'm going to let Tyson wrap up his thought here, and then I'll wrap up the call. So Tyson.
Okay, and then I'm just going to add the last thing. Number 14, which is what I said first, massive action looks like taking little steps along the way, which adds up in the end to one massive action. I'm so happy that you guys are willing to go along this exercise with me. I think breaking it down has helped all of us on the call, those who are more experienced, less experienced, and not experienced. So thank you very much, guys. Mitch, I'll turn it back to you.
Guys, thanks so much for participating today. Rick, Gavin, I'm so proud of you guys. You're kicking butt and taking names, and it's just awesome to watch. And I'm grateful to be a part of what you guys are doing and continue to watch you to grow as we grow together. I'm grateful for your friendship and what that's meant to me over the years that we've worked together. So keep doing it. Let's keep working together. For everybody else on the call, thank you for being here today. We grow because of each other, right? I learn things from you, you learn things from me, and that's what this is all about. So we're going to be back here next week and every week after that, same time, same place, same link. So just make it a priority. Let's get on here and let's learn and grow from each other and make ourselves better real estate investors, better business owners because of it. Make sure you, as you're out there over the next week, stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.